everyone, welcome. This is Dr. Denise Glassmoyer. We are working our way through a series of videos on the topic of emotionally abusive or toxic relationships. And in the last couple of videos, I talked about things like denial, when the guy absolutely denies that something happened. You were there, he was there, he's telling you it didn't happen. An unconscious defense mechanism called projection, where he believes that you are doing the very things that he's either thinking of doing or is actually participating in. And so irrational jealousy and a lot of very confusing things come as a result of projection. Now, the reason that I am going through each one of these individually in a video is to help you to gain clarity. I received hundreds of questions and comments from amazing women all over the country talking about their struggles, their triumphs, their questions, and what I hear, a common thread that I hear through almost all of them, is this confusion of trying to figure out what is going on. And so, having experienced some of this myself, I wanted to give you some tools to help to reground yourself. One of those tools is a downloadable top 10 signs that you are in a toxic relationship from my website, and there's a link below that you can use to easily get there and download that. Use it as a reference. In healthy relationships, healthy men and women will exhibit some of these things from time to time, but the difference is that in a toxic relationship, this is all the time. There might be glimmers, there might be days where these things aren't going on, but it is clearly such a part of the fabric of the relationship that if you are looking and you are considering what's going on here, that list is going to really help you. Another thing that I hope will help ground you, I know it helped me, is this simple list of 3 things, 3 simple truths that you will find in emotionally abusive relationships. So kind of tuck these away, write them down, write them on your heart, keep them close, so that in those moments of confusion when you are, because of who you are, questioning yourself more than you're questioning him, I want you to go back to these and just kind of use it as a reality check for yourself. And the first of those, which this one will really help you alone, is that emotionally abusive people do not admit that they're emotionally abusive. I can't tell you how many absolutely delightful, loving, kind women have spent years of their life trying to explain to this guy, number one, that he's hurting them, and number two, how he's hurting them, and maybe even going to therapy and learning terms that help you to be able to communicate effectively. And this guy is looking at you like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a great guy. Emotional abuse? What are you talking about? And so here you're trying to explain, it is not okay when you rage at me. It is not okay when you accuse me of being unfaithful or being flirtatious when I'm not. It's not okay when you criticize me, you minimize my interests, all of these things. Okay, so you're trying to explain to this guy, and he has no interest in understanding because he's not seeking the same kind of relationship you are. He's not seeking a mutual relationship. So he's not interested in understanding, and believe me, he has no interest and probably very little ability in admitting that he has ever done anything that is less than perfect. And that's where we start to see the narcissistic traits and maybe even narcissistic personality disordered stuff coming in, is that there's a blind spot there. So you can waste your time and your energy and your emotions trying to get this guy to understand what he's not going to understand, and believe me, he's never going to admit to. So if you have spent a significant period of time in your relationship going through this cycle over and over, okay, red flag number one. The second thing that we often see, just a really simple identifier, is that this man is a different guy inside the home than he is outside the home. Outside the home, he might be very friendly, gregarious. He might have significant success in certain areas of his life. Generally somebody that people go, wow, we love this guy, he's a great guy. And then when he's home and it's just you and him, or you and him and the children, then it's a whole different story. And the reason for this is that emotionally abusive, controlling people don't separate themselves from the people who are close to them. So once you move in with a guy like this, once you have a child with a guy like this, marry this guy, the reality inside the home changes really quickly. And for most women, it is so confusing that the response of the woman is to step up and really try to make a difference, try to fix things, to be more loving, to meet his needs, all of these things that, okay, they're great in the short term. They might calm some of the chaos in the short term, but they don't fix anything at all in the long term. And the third thing, and this is so, so important, although not all emotional abuse leads to physical abuse, all physical abuse is preceded by emotional abuse. The videos and the materials that I put out for you are intended for individuals who are experiencing emotional abuse. And I want to make sure that you know if there is any threat of physicality, whether he's ever touched you or not, if he has gotten in your face, if he has thrown things, if he has pushed himself up against you and made some intimidating posture, this is a precursor. This is a warning, and it is so hard for women to grasp the fact that the man they love would hurt them emotionally, number one, that he would actually put hands on her or hurt her physically is very, very hard for a person to wrap their mind around. So I want you to be aware, to know if there's any of this that goes on in your relationship, that it will not get better on its own, and that the longer you wait, the worse it will become, and to immediately contact a domestic violence group in your area, reach out for support. If you are being physically injured in any way in the heat of the moment, do not hesitate to call for help, to call 911. Research shows that the one thing that has proven to be the most successful in helping to change this dynamic is the involvement of law enforcement. And really none of us want to invite that into our home, to have to call the police on someone that we care about, but for your own protection, this is absolutely essential. And I encourage you, if this is going on at all, that you go beyond the resources that I provide, and that you find support for battered women, that you find support in developing a safety plan. So here again, if there's emotional abuse going on in your home, it does not necessarily mean that there will be physical abuse. But all physical abuse had those warning signs first, and that was the emotional stuff. So all of this tends to worsen over time. And my intention today, what I really want you to take away from this video, is this simple 3 things you can think about to help ground yourself, to help you make those decisions that nobody else can make for you. As women, we can support one another, we can encourage one another, we can love one another, we can share information, which is why I do what I do, but we cannot make a decision for someone else. So many of the questions I get are, what should I do? What you should do is to continue to educate yourself, to continue to take care of yourself, to reconnect with yourself, to find your passions, to rebuild your support system of friends and family and all of these things. Whether you're still in the relationship, you're on the way out of the relationship, or you've left the relationship, there is a continuum of care for yourself. One of the things that I find to be absolutely essential, not just for women who are dealing with emotional or physical abuse, but for all women, all humans, is something that's called mindfulness, mindful meditation, learning to reconnect with yourself, learning to reconnect with the moments of your life. Because what emotional abuse does is it robs us of that. Think about where your mind is most of the time. You might be at work. You might be out with girlfriends. Maybe you're with your kids. Maybe you're at the gym. And if you are in a toxic relationship, he is taking up far too much of your internal emotional real estate. So the first thing you want to do is claim that back. So let's just review really, really quickly these 3 things that will be present in emotionally abusive relationships and that you can use kind of as a quick check-in to reground yourself and to get clarity. Okay, number 1, the first one, he will not admit to you that his behavior is hurtful. The only person who can identify and change a pattern is you. And I know how tough that is, but he's not going to help you with that. The second one, he's a different guy at home than he is out in the rest of the world. And so many women get so frustrated because they're reaching out for support and the people around them just go, I just don't see it. He's a great guy. I don't know why you're so upset. That is why resources like this one, and there are many out there, are so important to you. And important that we as women support one another, educate one another, share information, and encourage each other. That there are loving, wonderful individuals out there who want the kind of relationship that you want, that you deserve better than this. And the third one is the fact that emotional abuse always precedes physical violence. So because you're in an emotionally abusive relationship does not necessarily mean that's where it's going to go. However, it is a warning sign, and it's one that I want you to pay close attention to. And don't wait. Don't make that assumption that, he's not going to hurt you. He comes from a different reality than you do. So just a red flag. Thank you. Thank you for tuning into these videos. Thank you for your courageous comments, for sharing your experiences with both myself and with other women. Thank you for joining our Facebook community. Our community grew by over 300 this last week. Thank you for sharing the videos with your friends. My passion is to get this message out there. It's to help women to identify, break free, and recover, fully regain themselves after a toxic relationship. And I can only get that word out with your help. So thank you. My heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you. I will look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a great week. Make it a great day. Bye-bye.